think, act, and prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
Hello everyone, it's Darrell Dominic. Welcome to the Money Level Show. Today we're going to talk over what is the difference between this side of the quadrant and this side of the quadrant, and how you can make your money work for you and how you can become wealthy. And so these are some concepts that I've learned from different financial gurus or however you want to name them, professional investors or whatnot. And so I learned a lot of this from the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, but I've also learned it in other places as well. And so that's what we're going to break down. So what we're going to focus on today is the E, the S, the C, and the I. So what's the difference between each one of these? So under E, this is employee. So here you're an employee. Here you're self-employed. Here you are a corporate business owner who owns a system that works for you. Here you are a professional investor. And so the difference between the two is that one of these sides you're going to pay more in taxes. And you could probably guess which side that is. That is the employee, self-employed side. And so with the employee and the self-employed side, employees, you can probably end up paying from about 30 to 50% in taxes over the course of your lifetime. Self-employed, I've seen some different numbers, but I've seen as high as 50 to 60%, depending on, what you're doing, how much money you're making, and all those different types of things. If you have a lot of expenses, and so a lot of times self-employed, you get going and you have all of the things that you need, and so you don't have as many expenses, and therefore you have to pay more taxes. So under self-employed, these can be a lot of different jobs. Some people do counselor. You could be an attorney. You could be a contractor. All of those different things, consultant. And so this is the self-employed side. Over here, you have the corporate side, which is where you own a system that works for you. And so I've seen a couple different numbers. I've seen 250 or more or 500 or more employees, but you own a business and you have a lot of employees working for you. And so therefore, that is what the nature of that is. You are creating jobs. And so when you're looking at taxes and things of that nature, so a lot of the wealthy do not pay a lot of taxes because they are shrewd in how they use the tax law to their advantage. And so over here, you're paying less taxes. So you're going to end up paying about 20% of taxes for owning a corporation. So the government tax laws gives incentives to people who provide jobs, people who provide housing, people who do farming or energy and oil. And so those are the categories that give people tax incentives. And so the government technically taxes those people less that are in those fields. And so 500 more employees and you creating jobs. Over here you have the investor who is could be stocks and dividends. If you own stocks, a lot of times stocks will pay a dividend. So Warren Buffett may put $500 million in the stock to hold the stock, and he gets paid to hold the stock. And so that's one of those things that you're getting paid just to own it. So you're not having to work for that. Now, same thing with real estate. A lot of people own real estate where they don't have to physically be there. So here you don't necessarily have to be at the corporation. You may run around and observe the corporation or sit on the board, or you may have a board making decisions for you. You may make some corporate decisions, but you're not really involved in what's going on at the bottom. And so like in corporations, you think of like Apple, Coca-Cola, places like that where they have a lot of employees, and the people that sit at the top are not as involved in the day-to-day operations, like making the phone or designing the phone and things like that. But so they're not trading a lot of their time in those areas. Same thing with real estate. A lot of times people hire property managers to manage their real estate for them, and they just collect the check. So just to own the property, you're getting paid. Same thing with stocks. Just to own the stocks, you're getting paid. It's going up in value, and a lot of times you get dividends. So another difference between these two sides is that on this side, you're trading your time for money. So as an employee or self-employed, you have to go in and you have to punch a clock. And so when you punch in the clock, you're having to trade your time for money to support your livelihood. That is the reason why people on this side have a hard time getting out of the rat race. I call it the rat race, because you're trading your time for money. On this side, your money works for you. And so your money is, you're putting your money to work. So whether that's your money that you've done in starting this corporation and building this corporation to create jobs, or your money that you put in the stocks or in the real estate, and your money's working for you, bringing you an income. And so these are the differences between the two sides. Time for money over here, you're trading your time for money. Over here, you are letting your money work for you and bring you income. And so those are the differences. On this side, you know, over here, like many people say, like, okay, how can I get rich? Okay, well, if I go to college and I get this type of job, I can get rich. Yeah, that's right. On here, you can make, you know, as an employee, you can make 120K pretty easy, you know, depending on what you do. I wouldn't say pretty easy. You may have to get into some type of engineering field or some type of trade field. So you can make money on this side. Same here, self-employed. You can make 200K, you know, being a contractor, doing what you do, you know, whether that's you own a small construction business or whatnot, you can make that type of money. However, the difference is that on this side, when you make money, it's based off of you, it's based off of your expertise, and it's based off of your time that you put into it. And so when you think about passing it down to your kids, you know, when you pass away or when you retire, this income is gone. It's X'd out because you're no longer in the picture. And so you have to really think about that. And so that's one aspect of it. When you are on this side of the quadrant, you know, you can't pass it down to your kids. I mean, self-employed, you may be able to pass a business down to your kids if your kid wants to grow that business, if your kid wants to see that business succeed and eventually turn into a corporate agency, you know, that could be a possibility. And so that's definitely a possibility. So on this side, when you create jobs or when you are a professional investor, this is something that you can pass down to your kids. So your kids may not want anything to do with the corporation, but you may have a system in place that works for you so that your kids can benefit from that in the future and your grandkids can benefit from that. And so whether you're getting royalties, all those different types of things, you think about all the great businesses and the CEOs and the founders that have passed away and how their family is still receiving money from those companies. And so same thing here, you can pass down stocks, you can pass down real estate. And so the government gives advantages to people who create jobs, who farm, who mine oil energy, or who provide housing. And so on this side, this is what you're doing. You're creating jobs or you're providing housing. That is why you are getting more tax benefits. As you see on corporate, you might pay 20% tax. On investor, you can pay up to 0% tax. And so how does that work? A lot of times you have to pay taxes on stocks, especially dividends. If you own it in the short term, which is a year or less than a year, then you're gonna have to pay more taxes than if you own it long term, more than a year. And sometimes I think you get a lower taxes if you own it for 5 years or more. Except real estate, they have more tax advantages than stocks. We're going to look into this. So when Donald Trump got his tax returns back, he said he paid $750. When I first heard this, I had a hard time believing it, but then I started thinking about this and I was thinking like, okay, that might be true. So Donald Trump owns a lot of real estate. He owns a lot of corporations. So when you look at real estate, you have a home. Say you buy a home, a little monopoly home right here, and you're charging $1,000 a month for rent. So After 12 months, you've made $12,000, right? Yeah, you made $12,000. Under that $12,000, you have expenses. Say like the hot water heater goes out, so you have to pay those expenses, and then you have to pay taxes as well. However, another component of owning a real estate property is depreciation. And so with depreciation, under the tax law, you can depreciate your properties. You cannot do this as a personal homeowner, which sucks, but you can do this under a investment property. Even though your home may go up in value on the market, it may go up $20K for the year, and you can sell this home for $20K extra. You could take that $20K of equity out and go invest it somewhere else if you wanted to. However, when it comes to tax season, you get depreciation. So let's say your home was worth $300,000 and you depreciate your home every year, and the depreciation is $20,000. So what does that mean? So you lost $20,000 in value based off of the tax law, not necessarily based off the market and how the market and the home went up in the market. So based off the tax law, you lost $20,000 in value on the home, not necessarily on the land, but on the home. And so your home depreciated at $20,000. So you only made $12,000, right? You only made $12,000. So if you depreciate at $20,000, you have expenses like the hot water heater, and you only made $12,000, then you're going to pay no tax. When you think about that, that is how shrewd business owners and things like that get rich. That is how the rich don't pay as much in taxes, and that is how they do this. And so that is pretty much how you get wealthy. That's how you get rich. So we have to think creatively. How do we get from this side over to this side? And so I'm in this side. I'm right here with you guys, with a lot of you guys. I'm also right here. But I'm thinking and strategizing, how can I get over to this side and this side? Because it's hard. It's hard. I mean, you may have a hard time paying, a lot of money to get, to buy a house, or you don't have a lot of money to invest in stocks, and it may take a gradual build and things like that. And so you definitely have to kind of brainstorm and think about those different things and what you can do to get to this level. And sometimes it may mean a career shift or whatnot. And so for me, I'm doing my real estate license. And so this is kind of the area I'm probably going to get into. Me and my cousin, we opened an LLC to own properties in St. Louis in the near future. And so this is the area that I'm shooting for. But we'll see what happens in the housing market and how I may need to shift and things of that nature to adjust to the times and the economy. So I thank you all for watching the Money Level Show. I hope this was very helpful. I want to do more whiteboard videos like this on more basic concepts as well. And just to be sure to help you guys, and help me, process how can I get to the next level? How can I get to the next financial level? And so I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, and thank you. You have a great day.